Stupid question because we're all learning this together and there's a lot to understand and there's a lot to learn. So please, if you've got a question, it's not going to be stupid, trust me. And if you don't feel comfortable asking a question in this open forum, approach any one of us after the session and we'll try and answer it as best we can. Yes, mate.
So basically it's got nothing to do with the internals, it's all external.
That's right. So the RVSA covers the road-related compliance items. Having said that, the ADR do call up relevant Australian standards that relate to things like electrical and gas. So by default, by applying to VSP1 and the ADR, you'll need to comply to every aspect of the ADR.
Right. I think I've got it.
Any other questions? Everyone must have it under control. Good.
Yeah, I have one.
Yes, Steve?
Windows you put in for the test, right?
Yep.
How long does that normally take the process?
You should get an email back within 5 days if you haven't got one back yet. So you've sent the spreadsheet back to VSA. Yeah, you should have got a response by now. I would email them again or reattach it. Yeah.
No, all the ADRs are online.
Yes.
Is there or will there be like template sort of documentation that you can use to meet all those evidence requirements?
Yeah, so that's a good question. The question, if no one else heard it, is there going to be a template or information sheet of what evidence is going to be required for the approvals? The department is committed to having a discussion paper on that at the next approvals meeting, which are the RVSA meeting, which is 3rd and 4th of July. Hopefully in there there'll be a little bit more information around evidence requirements, and then we've already asked the department that we would like to work with them to develop exactly that, some form of information and templates for industry to help everyone get everything ready. Yep.
Yep. Is that the presentation? We'll send out that. We're also recording this, so we'll actually send out some stuff as well. I'll go into that in a second. I'll fill you in on that.
A lot of the, we're going to adapt a lot of this information out of the presentation into the RVSA Ready website to then have it there accessible for everybody.
Any other questions, queries?
Yeah, one more.
Yeah, Fergus?
Just wondered if just sort of thinking ahead, if there's any risk of a bottleneck in this process, like the fact that you've got to go through this certification process that doesn't exist today, and we don't really know what that looks like yet, and there's a relatively narrow window for that to happen. You know, if everybody doesn't get going early on in the piece and everybody tries to do it in the last month, then the system just gets inundated.
The blank look on their face at the national conference was to die for when we talked about how many. And that's why we're doing this now. That's why we're trying to get everyone going, because we know there's going to be issues. Like Steve said, he's still been waiting however many days to get his evidence and all that. It's going to take time, so we've got to get going. We've really got to get going.
One more question. Say a 20-foot over the door at the front and a door at the back. Are they two completely different models?
So your type of approval?
It's all based on the GTM rating of the trailer, so irrespective of whether
So it's got nothing to do with the design.
Based on
you'll need to hold all the information in relation to the design, because the design will then essentially dictate the ADR compliance of it.
Yeah, right. Makes sense.
Yes, Bob?
There going to be limits on aftermarket equipment. So, for example, like, is there going to be a law, or is it just like blanket no aftermarket?
That's the information we're still trying to obtain at the moment to identify what is affected and how they're going to go about it, because they might allow a tolerance of modification. It might be 5% of the weight or something like that. That's the information we're still trying to obtain at the moment. Once we get that out, we keep rolling it out.
Roll out.
That's what we're worried about. So with service repair guys, if they modify vans, change some parts around ADRs, this is our big concern, and we think that that's where they're starting to come next. So we've got to be making sure we're doing the right thing. What was that, Tony?
Well, don't speak up here because everybody's talking.
If everyone can just keep their separate conversations down. There was a question raised about service and repair and changing parts. We're still trying to obtain what the aftermarket items are going to be, but that's where we think they're going to come to focus next, because There is a lot of focus on aftermarket modifications, hence the slide and the notes in there, but that's still to come out. That's still to come out.
That changes the car lights. They're going to be maybe after
Yep.
Having said that though, the RAV and all the RVSA it relates to the vehicle or the trailer prior to first registration or first provision to market. So all of those aftermarket bits, so if the van's already registered and you make a change, technically falls under the Vic Roads or the state-based enforcement. But when you make that change, it doesn't then equal, you won't be putting any changes in the RAV for that. Once it's in the RAV and gone onto market, if you do an ATM upgrade, say if it's already registered, that won't be reflected in the RAV. That was an idea very first up in the RAV, but the functionality of that from a state level wasn't possible. So it's basically the RAV captures the product as it was first provided or first registered.
Any other questions?
A couple of questions actually. One, is that going to affect the CIA who can participate in the shows or not once this RVSA is...
We're going to have a type approval to sell the Caravan.
And
So
the
you're gonna
second thing
have
is,
to have
can they still, some manufacturers build under the no brand names, like manufacturers that don't really exist?
You're talking about like a dealer, for instance, using a marketing name as a branded Caravan and then putting another name on the
That's
plate.
right.
Whoever's on the plate is
the
the
manufacturer.
manufacturer. Yeah. That's who takes full compliance responsibility for the product.
You want to look at the prices?
They still fall under that different brand name?
Yeah, it's based around the manufacturer. So it's whatever's on the vehicle plate, the manufacturer on there will need to have the type approval. You can have another brand on there. That's what happens to the cargo plate.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. So in terms of aftermarket accessories or parts that are going to the Caravan. So parts are going to go into the Caravan. Test laboratories are going to have to be certified by the federal government. And then you're going to have all your testing approvals against those ADRs and relevant standards done by those test laboratories. That's how it's going to come to the future, which we'll find out in September. Question up the back? Someone's pointing up the back?
James, do you have any idea of time frame a state-based registration authorities getting issues sorted out? CTA approvals, time frame when they're going to start to happen? Because as importers, we're running out of time.
Yeah. So first point for the states, no. We should have some more detail with the new with the RVSA working group in early July. So I know that everyone around the room in that implementation group is asking the same question. So I hope so, but they're very much bound by how VSS are going with their system. Your second question around component type approvals and approved test facilities, they are able to do that from the 10th of September 2019. And as for imported product having to comply by 10th of December 2019, the government fully recognises that that's a difficult time frame to meet, and we've voiced that very, very clearly to them, and they're coming back to us very, very shortly with some suggestions or options of how they can help us and we can help them to achieve what we need to achieve. So they're very, very well aware that the time frames are incredibly tight for the imported product in particular.
And has VSS accepted FDA approvals for testing criteria?
I saw an email earlier about that, and in typical VSS style, it was very, very long-winded and didn't make a lot of sense. But from what I can gather, if you get evidence from a place prior to the approval being the approved test facility existing, then they will accept that. But I'm not 100% sure, but that's the way they're looking at the moment, because I appreciate the fact that it gives a tight window if you need to get documentation or evidence from an approved test facility to then be included into an approval in a very tight time frame.
So if the consultative engineer has actually already done those approvals, or already done that FDA testing, and they are able to get to become an approved test facility, then it will become retrospective or not.
We're still trying to figure that out. We're going back and forward with questions on this at the moment. That exact point is if the approved test facility doesn't exist, how can you get evidence if that doesn't exist? So we're working on that. Yep, we're working on that.
James, who's going to be doing all the testing? Like, is it you guys or the government?
What the testing
Come
suspended?
into the
So VSS, once you're an approval holder, that gives the department or the regulators the ability to come to your facility at any time and do a complete audit. They won't need to necessarily come out and do an audit to get your approval. You're given your approval on the premise that they will come in at any time and go through the place with a fine-tooth comb. And they're the ones who are issuing the approvals. They're the ones who will come and do a full audit. And their audit is just about looking at a physical caravan sitting there, as much as they're looking at every aspect of your business from a process point of view, which is that whole quality production.
You'll probably have it ready already.
In terms of the frequency at which they may come out to your business, will depend on, they use risk assessment, they base it around potentially consumer complaints, so they will look at their audits, looking at all different factors.
Any other questions, queries? No? That's good. All right, so where to from here, which is what I was scribbling on my phone as I was not paying attention to James. So what we're going to do next, we are going to send out these slides, any information and all the links. Obviously, as James said, the Caravan Industry Association of Australia are creating a website for us all to access. It's going to have all the information for us to help us be better at what we've got to do, and gives us some information. We've videoed today's session. We'll also send out that link, and we'll then start to cut it up into areas that are important. So, as an example, to apply and register your business and start testing the system, we'll cut it up so that you can actually have some information about that. We'll send out the RAV guide that James said that he's got. Look out for any notifications and information coming from us, coming from the Caravan Industry Association of Australia. This is very, very important, as we've heard today. Mentioned they're also setting up a website. So what do you need to do from here? Get on and register your business. Start testing the system, see what you need to do, and start to set up processes within your business to be ready from the 10th of December, because that's when it starts to affect us. Identify in your business currently, do you have the appropriate systems and processes throughout your whole business to ensure compliance? Not just a quality control check at the end of production line. It is not going to cut it. Make sure you go through every step of your business, and you're going to need documented evidence to prove compliance. Liaise with your dealers about any modifications after markets and where this is going moving forward. Identify any products and suppliers that are going to be affected by this as well, and check with them if they're ready. Do they know that their test laboratories are going to be ready moving forward? Make sure that the suppliers are working closely with us to identify any updates, because we don't know at the moment. We don't know until September. So they've got to be on top of this as well, and identifying the test laboratories moving forward. That was what I noted down taking through today, and what James presented about what we need to do moving forward. Yes, Ken?
What about the tests that we've already done, like we build our insurance and we've already got tests done, why they're not working?
Well, this is the information, Ken, we're trying to find out at the moment. What this system's saying is, what they're trying to do is to ensure the testing laboratory has the appropriate approvals as well, and meets compliance of the ADRs. That's how they're tightening up the system. Whether it be retrospective, as Dean said up the back, that's what we're trying to find out. Now, they haven't even set up the system, which, you know, poor Caravan Industry Association of Australia have been beating the drum and trying to drill into their heads and go, we should have done the supply part first, but they're trying to get the system done first. So that's what this is where we're at the moment. All right. Well, obviously, thank you all for attendance today. Rob, was there anything you wanted to mention? No? Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Rob. Rob was talking while I was talking. I did get told to mention a couple of things as we wrap up. Obviously, thanks to James for coming down from Queensland. It would have been a lot warmer than here. Obviously, thanks to Chris and the team. I know Dennis is here. Chris Goddard, thanks for guys coming down. I know Jason Plant's here also from Queensland. They're going to be running a session. Oh, there he is at the back. They're running a session next month. So this is starting to roll out nationally. We're all working together to actually get the message out there, and we're here to help you guys get through this. We know it's a big change. It's a big change coming from the industry. But if we're really deep down and really honest with ourselves, it's what we really wanted. It's how we want to move the industry forward. So let's get on with it. Let's work together and let's get it done. Our Hall of Fame and Business Awards is on the 5th of July. If you haven't got a table, I suggest you get it very quickly because we're selling out. It's probably the most attendance we're ever going to have. What else did I have, Darian? Emerging Leaders Program was the other one. We're running our Emerging Leaders Program next month. So anyone under 40 looking to create a journey and a career pathway for yourselves, have a chat to Darian. Is there anything else? That's it. That's it. So thank you once again for coming. Appreciate your time, for taking out your businesses, and we'll be in touch, I'm sure. Thanks, guys.